All right, guys, the news is in. The new budget is out. I got inventory numbers and I've got sales information, and we're gonna go through it and let you know what's up. By the way, my name is Hussein Kabani. I am your favorite broker, mostly working in the Durham region. Pickering is our specialty, but we do cross lines, York region, Peel sometimes, even Niagara region. You can find me out there sometimes. We usually work with families looking to buy and sell residential real estate and invest in residential real estate. That's our real sweet spot. So if that's you, reach out. We are in time for another market update. So we're basically middle of April 2024, and I just want to give you guys an update on what's been happening in the market, the way that I see it. I'm gonna highlight to you guys right now, and if you didn't already know, that I'm crazy enough to get up every single morning and record the inventory myself because I like my own data. And that's a lot of how I'm gonna get you this information, because of the information that I have collected over time and the information that I even pull for today's video. But realistically, just at a very high level, what I wanted to share with you guys is that it seems like right now that sales have actually slowed down, okay? We had a very strong start to the year, and I'll give you some of the numbers around how strong it was. So if I even compare it from last year, 2023 to 2024, overall across the GTA, here in January, we were up about 1,000 units that were sold extra. So we were up by 1,000 units. In February, we were up by 730 units. In March, we were actually down this year versus last year by around 300 units. Now, the tricky part is that I want to gauge as the month is going on, and it's April 17th today for reference. I want to try to gauge what's happening right now in the market. And it's tough to gauge because I'm going to tell you this. What ends up happening in the Toronto Real Estate Board system is that as an agent, when I go to load the sold date, there's actually two ways of loading it. There's a right way and the wrong way, and most of us do it the wrong way. And it's basically for our stats. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Because what ends up happening is that if we have sold conditionally a property that has a 5-day condition on it, what should be happening is that the day that it firms up is the day that we should be saying this property is sold, according to TREB. But most of us, including myself, we actually go back to when it was sold conditionally and we entered that date. Now, as a note, I don't mind putting it the date that it was sold firm, as long as everyone else is willing to play, but I don't think everyone else is willing to play. That's something that TREB is gonna have to start to enforce, and I would really like them to, because it would make our stats a lot more clear, in my opinion, especially when we're trying to gauge where things are going right now. All of that being said, I'm gonna tell you what I see right now. So if I look at April 1st to April 10th, last year versus this year. Until April 10th, we were actually ahead this year by 61 units, okay, across the GTA. Now, if I look at April 1st to April 15th, we are actually down right now by 509 units. Now, remember, it's April 17th today. I pulled until April 15th. So that means that even if we go back after 3 or 4 days, I bet you this number has increased. By how much? Is it gonna be at least 500 or less than 500 more? I'm not sure at this point. I suspect we'll probably still be in a deficit based on what I've been seeing in terms of sales. So all of these numbers, just to let you guys know that, hey, we had a strong start, but we're starting to see some softness already, which kind of sucks because we are supposedly going into our spring market, which doesn't really feel like a spring market. That actually leads me to the inventory, because there's always two components of this. We have the sales and then we have the inventory. Now, it could not be feeling like we're actually doing much deals, but the sales are actually showing me that we're kind of coming down in number of transactions that are happening. But when we look at inventory itself, and I pull all of the inventory myself on a daily, so I have all the dates for January, February, March, all on the 17th. So that's the dates I've used from last year to this year to kind of pull the data. And I won't bore you with all of the details, but basically if I look at it until right now, it's basically we have right now about 60% more inventory than we did last year across the GTA. And what that means is that it's about 6,400 more listings are available right now than there were last year. So, I mean, obviously you guys know I'm a fan of Durham, and overall in Durham, what I'll tell you is that we actually have 600 more listings. I know 600 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is actually 60% more, almost 60% more listings in Durham today than we did last year. The biggest differences I wanted to share with you guys, or highlight to you guys, is Peel region, okay? Peel region right now, according to my numbers, has over 68% more inventory. 68% more inventory than we did last year to this year. And another thing to note also is condos in the 416. Condos in the 416, it's over 67% more listings for condos in the 416 than we did last year. So the sales are slower, I mean, someone tried to tell me that, hey, it's because that we have higher inventory, but sales are there. But I can go back and verify the sales numbers. And as of right now, I'm not seeing that the sales are there and we're just getting masked because of the higher inventory levels. I feel like the inventory levels are high and our sales are starting to kind of drop. I mean, it's not an absolute. We'll kind of see where it goes towards the end of the month. And I'm going to keep monitoring this thing. But it just seems like we're kind of on a downward trajectory right now. That's kind of been the feeling that we're getting in the market right now. Now, this could change, obviously, because what we saw is like I said, January, February, into March was hot, and kind of like during March break, it kind of slowed down, which was kind of what I was expecting. So it slowed down. Then we had winter storm, and I said, okay, maybe that's another reason things haven't picked up. I end up dealing with a lot of Muslim buy-ins, so I thought maybe Ramadan was, affecting the sales. But we're basically through all of these things, and I haven't actually seen the return of buyers into the market. I also think that because that we have so much more inventory right now, buyers don't actually have to be in a rush. They can actually go around, they can look at properties. They don't have FOMO anymore of like missing out on a property because they're looking at like 5, 7 properties each time they go out with a realtor, and they're saying,
I actually like 5 of the 7 properties I've seen, so if I miss out on this one, I don't care, I'll just buy this one.
So there's no rush for anyone to buy, and every day there's more inventory coming up than actually dropping off of the system. So if you're a buyer, you're probably not in a rush unless maybe you've already sold or you have a different type of timeline. But a lot of the people that we talk to, showing agents at our listings, they're telling us that their buyers are just not motivated or in any rush to buy anything anytime soon. So that's really kind of slowing things down. Now, with having this extra inventory versus last year and our sales being slower, I mean, you got to put those two together and basically say, hey, this could actually lead to prices coming down. And I'll add to this, like with the new budget that Canada is introducing, they're basically saying like your capital gain exemption is actually going to go from 50 to 2/3 being taxed, like 66.67%. You're going to get taxed over $250,000. So, I mean, that could also cause some people to come to the market. I was sitting earlier with Vern and we went through a quick number. And if you had purchased a property for $250,000 way back in the day, and now it's worth $1 million, and probably you refinance it once or twice. I know I've done that with my property. So right now I'm kind of paying out of pocket to keep that, even though I collect $2,800 a month in rent. I'm paying to keep that property going right now. And then now when I go to dispose of it, I'm going to actually have to pay more taxes on it. So, you know, you might see some people come up to the market and say, hey, I'm already losing on this thing. Like I mentioned in a previous video, one of my properties, I'm paying $1,950 a month after I collect $2,800 a month in rent just to keep this thing going. So I'm like, I'm already bleeding $2,000 a month. And on the back end, you're gonna tell me I gotta pay an extra $50,000 in taxes when I go to sell it? And do I think that I'm ever gonna be able to equal out on this thing, losing $2,000 a month and then plus losing $50,000 or $1,000 or more when I go to sell it? I might just say, hey, I might try to beat that timeline and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put the property on the market and let it go. And I think people are under pressure. Investors are under pressure because of interest rates where they are at right now. Investors are also people that bought pre-construction that may have committed to a higher price thinking that they can rent it out, and our rental prices have softened at the same time. So there's another opportunity for somebody to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna dump this property. Us having 60% more inventory available than last year combined with this here right now. And let's not forget that there's a lot of mortgages that people have at 1.5%, 2.5% that are gonna come up for renewal. And if those people were barely able to afford those properties at those rates, imagine them coming back into the market and trying to renew at 4.5% or 5%. Like, I think that could also cause more inventory to come to the market. Look, guys, I don't wanna say it's all doom and gloom, but I would like everyone to exercise extra caution when they're moving forward with their real estate transactions, okay? Now, I know that was, again, like I said, doom and gloom, but I think that this also creates an opportunity, and I think it's going to create opportunity for two buyers. And I think this is the feeling I had from the beginning, which is going to be first-time home buyers, okay? First-time home buyers that are looking to come into the market, this could cause a good opportunity for them, okay? They're going to have more inventory to pick from. If more inventory comes on, it's going to obviously have a downward pressure on price. So I think that they might be able to benefit from that, especially because the federal government has come out and said that, hey, instead of $35,000 out of your RRSP, you're gonna be able to take $60,000 out out, and you don't have to start paying it back in 2 years, you got to start paying it back in 5 years. So that could be a great incentive for first-time home buyers that thought they were outpriced in the market to actually be able to buy something and enter the market. So first-time home buyers, I think this could be good news for you, or people that are playing around the lower price points, less than $1 million. This could be a good bet for you guys. Another group of people I would say is also like move up or move down buyers. I would say that, hey, as long as you're trading in the same market, I think you're going to be okay. So for example, I have a client right now that wants to actually move to a smaller property because they want to enjoy their life a little bit more. Maybe they have a property right now that's worth $1.2 million in this market here right now, and they want to buy something for like $1.05 million because they're going to be able to be mortgage free or almost mortgage free. I think if we do everything correctly in terms of timing, I think that's a good bet for them. My suggestion to them would be is that, hey, let's go look at some properties, and if there's a bunch of properties out there that you would buy after looking at 10, you like 7 of them, I would say, hey, let's list your property. Let's make sure that we get what we want to get for your property, because the last thing I would want to do to somebody is go commit on a property and hope that we're going to be able to sell your property on the back end, because that just leads to a lot of bad things happening in the future, in my experience and in my opinion. So it's not all doom and gloom. I think that there are people that are going to be able to benefit from here. The people that are going to see probably not such a great effect out of what is happening right now are people that just want to cash out on properties and not looking to buy back into something. So if they have that investment property, they just want to kind of dump it, or they have their principal residence, they just want to kind of sell it and move on with their life, maybe move to Texas or whatever. It might not be a great time for them to kind of cash out at this point, but who knows? It could be even lower next year and the year after that. It's very hard to say, but just right now, based on the number of inventory where I see sales going right now, it seems like it might be a bumpy ride. I think that we could probably see a little bit more in a month. I've been telling people that, hey, by the end of April, we should get a pretty decent reading. It will probably be kind of middle of May before we get a decent reading on what's going on. So obviously we'll be back probably in about another month with another market update. But you guys are welcome to follow me along on my Instagram, and I'll likely post some stories on there about like where I see the market going as it's kind of happening. So that's my market update in a nutshell, based on what I'm actually seeing from working in the market every single day and collecting my own data, and I'm not looking at anyone else's data. This is data that I collect myself out of the MLS system, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys. If you guys have enjoyed this, I would really like it if you guys can throw a quick like on it, share it with a friend, and guys, most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. I think I'm dropping gold here all the time, so I think you guys should subscribe. You guys will get a lot of benefit out of it. Also, listen, I always say this, everyone's situation is completely different. And that's why one of the reasons I love this business, because I get to troubleshoot and solve people's problems, and I deal with a lot of different things, and I like it. And I'd love to help you guys out with that. My Calendly link is gonna be below. I encourage you guys to book a quick appointment with me. Love to hop on a quick phone call, Zoom call with you guys, meet you, and actually give you my opinion based on what your situation is. Until next time, guys, remember one thing, get Cabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.